Om Yogena Chittasya Padena Vacha Malam Sharirasya Cha Vaidyakena Yopa Karottam Pravaram Muninam Patanjalim Pranjalira Natosmi. We read up to Sutra 33 from the Samadhipad of Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. To recapitulate, let us go back to Sutra 30. We need not go back much because we have explained those things, but let us go back to Sutra 30. And I read again 30. Vyadhi, Sthana, Samshaya, Pramada, Alasya, Avirati, Bhranti Darshana, Alabdha Bhumikatva, Navasthitatvani, Chitta Vikshepa, Te Antaraya. Our chitta, our mind stuff, becomes as if thrown out, Vikshepa, that becomes obstacle, and it takes the following forms at different stages of our attempt. Vyadhi is a sickness or feeling of sickness. Sthana is mental laziness. Samshaya, doubt. Pramada, the tendency to commit mistakes. Not doing thing exactly when it is wanted. Alasya, physical laziness. Avirati, not giving up the clinging to enjoyments which you have been doing throughout our life. Bhranti Darshana, adopting a wrong philosophy. Alabdha Bhumikatva, not getting the hold of some Bhumikatva, that means not getting the state of Chitta Vritti Nirodha, that is Bhumi. Anavasthitatvani. We are able to reach that state, but we are not able to hold on to it. So at different stages of our meditative attempt, these are the different Chitta Vikshepas, they become the obstacles. And Patanjali has told us that if we continue, persist in our attempt, they will slowly go away. There is no other means to remove them, and then he takes up some others which are at the time of sadhana, it appears as if our sadhana itself is bringing these obstacles. And so, Dukkha Daurmanasya, 31 Sutra, Dukkha Daurmanasya Angame Jayatva Shvasa Prashvasa Vikshepa Sahabhuva. That means when the Vikshepas come, these also come at that time. So all this Patanjali is describing what happens during our sadhana. While we are doing sadhana, certain things throw our mind out and we get obstructed. And at the same time, our sadhana itself produces, like byproduct, some other things which are obstructive. And dukkha, we feel pain for not reaching a state. So it is during sadhana that misery is felt. When we do not succeed to the point which we expect, this dukkha comes. But we have to persist and cross this dukkha. Daurmanasya, mental unhappiness. Dukkha is actually a pain, but there are so many sorts of mental unhappiness. Our mind is not responding to our call, so we feel bad. Feeling bad in the mind, that is Daurmanasya. Angame Jayatva. And then when we proceed, our body starts shaking. And that disturbs us. though it is an automatic effect of our sadhana, but these reactions of sadhana, the side effects of sadhana, they sometimes disturb us. Shwasa prashwasa, our breathing suddenly becomes irregular during sadhana. So these are the things which happen during sadhana, but we should persist and our sadhana will remove these obstacles and will go forward. Then he has said that now he is suggesting some additional means of overcoming these obstacles. Additional means, mind you. Our sadhana is proceeding. We are feeling obstructed. We are getting different obstructions. So some additional means are being suggested. And tat pratishedhartham, 32 sutra. Tat pratishedhartham ekatatvabhyasa. So what we should do? We should take up any one object. If we are already meditating on God, that itself is an object in meditation, but otherwise, we can choose any one object to the exclusion of others. And if we go on concentrating on one object, then these troubles vanish. So these are the additional means of removing the troubles along with our regular sadhana. 32. And in 33, he suggested some means, wonderful means of keeping the mind tranquil and blissful always, so that these troubles do not come during sadhana. So all these things are not equal to each other, but different means suggested by Patanjali to take care of the restlessness of the mind and to bring it to a tranquil, blissful state. And then we proceed in our sadhana. So he has given a fourfold formula. Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upekshanam, Sukha Dukkha Punya Vishayanam Bhavanata Chitta Prasadanam. If you want the prasada state of the mind, a tranquil, blissful state, we should adopt 4 types of feelings in 4 types of situations. We have seen this yesterday. If somebody is happy, we should not feel jealous of him. We should feel friendship for him. And then our mind will become tranquil and blissful. If somebody is miserable, we should feel sympathy for him. One Shruta suggested to me another word, empathy. This is a current word. We should have empathy. We should have sympathy for him, I said, so that our mind comes to a tranquil, blissful state. If somebody is doing good works, we should feel happy. That is another formula. And the last one, as I called it, master stroke of Patanjali was that if somebody is doing something bad, we should have the attitude of upeksha. Ignore. Don't think of that. Don't get involved in that. Otherwise, we will become disturbed like anything. So this is what Patanjali suggested in 33. Up to this we studied yesterday. Now we come to 34.
A doubt?
Yes, please.
Yeah, we spoke of jealousy, no? You mentioned that jealousy is very fundamental to the nature. So how do we address jealousy in us?
How to address the jealousy? How to address the jealousy factor? No?
Yes.
No. Patanjali, remember, he said, Chitta Prasadanam. If we want this tranquil, blissful state, jealousy is not to be allowed. But saying that jealousy is not allowed, you see the problem is comparing itself start jealousy. You know, some years back, there was an advertisement, perhaps Onida or something. Pride of your house, jealousy of neighbor. Now, jealousy is the worst transformer of human character. I was quoting Arthur Conan Doyle in his Sherlock Holmes books. and their two friends are running a business. And both are praised, but one is praised more than the other because of his behavior was perhaps sweeter. This puts in the jealousy in the other. And what he does, if suppose he murders him, then he will be hanged. He creates an evidence. He hides himself. And he creates an evidence to show that the friend has murdered him and he is hiding. And then people will hang him, his friend, and then he will come out. That was his idea. So up to what length jealousy takes us, we cannot imagine. Now, as our teachers tell us, nip in the bud. Stop it in the beginning itself. How that is done is being told by Patanjali. I give you several instances of the jealousy. Even the mother feels jealousy for daughter, sister feels sister, brother for brother. In a big organization, this trouble comes. In family, this trouble comes. So, the advice by Patanjali is that feel friendship. Can you feel friendship? If somebody is happy, can you feel friendship? I give you a positive incidence on that. I repeat it. Two friends appeared for the intermediate examination. One friend got letter marks or distinction in two subjects, mathematics and physics, and the other got only in chemistry. The other one, this chemistry boy, he was expecting that both of them will get in all the three subjects. Now it didn't happen. He became sad. It will not be jealousy, but the starting point maybe. He was still feeling friendship. Now, the principal was coming down the steps of the college and these two friends were climbing up. The principal asked naturally, what is the result? Now that friend sorrowfully states, oh, my friend got in mathematics and physics, I got only in chemistry. The principal immediately said, oh, wonderful. Two friends together got in all the three subjects. Now, if this can be the attitude cultivated, we will never feel jealousy. Whoever is happy, we must cultivate. This is what Patanjali is advising us. Otherwise, you will not have Chitta Prasadana at all. Another example I give you. Now, Duryodhana has sent by foul means the Pandavas to Vanavas. Pandavas have gone to the jungle. They are happy. What has happened is that all the wise people, the Brahmins, the Rishis, everybody is going to forest to meet Yudhishthira. Duryodhana has done this, but Duryodhana is feeling jealousy. Then what to do? He thinks that I will take a procession, like our Dashera processions, with all my army and all that, and humiliate them. That was his idea. Do you want full story? Reverse thing happened. Some Gandharvas and Apsaras were taking bath in a lake in between. But because of the pride, Duryodhana wanted to enter that. They obstructed, they objected. Duryodhana did not agree. Then those Gandharvas fought with Duryodhana and his friends. Dushasan, Shakuni, Karna ran away. And they caught Duryodhana and tied him to his chariot. Then people shouting, Pandavas were near about. So people shouting like, oh, king has been captured, king has been captured. Yudhishthira immediately told Arjuna and Bhim, go and get him released. So they came on behalf of Yudhishthira, fought with the Gandharvas. Then the Gandharvas said, he wanted to humiliate Duryodhana. He said that, I do not accept anybody. I accept Yudhishthira only as the king. I will take this man bound in this state to Yudhishthira. What he orders, I will do. Then Yudhishthira asked him, give him up. Release him immediately. Now this story continues like that. Duryodhana went back, stayed in one spot and was feeling remorse. His friends came back. and said, Raja is very brave. He said, don't talk like that, give me poison. I want to kill myself immediately. They said, King, ups and downs always come. He said, then unless I see Yudhishthira killed, I will not be peaceful. This is what jealousy is doing. This is what jealousy is doing. And what was Yudhishthira's idea? Yudhishthira told Arjuna and Bhima, when we fight with each other, they are 100, we are 5. But any outside enemy, remember, we are 105. So this is the feeling of friendship which Yudhishthira was feeling. And so Yudhishthira is happy. So, if we want to be happy, you have to bring an idea of friendship about that man about whom you are going to feel jealous. This is what Patanjali has told us. I don't think there is any better advice. I don't think any other means can be found to remove this jealousy. So, we have to accept Patanjali's psychology, and Patanjali has asked us to feel friendship. So now we proceed. And when we come to Sutra 34, alternate means. And these means, though he is using the word va again, or, but they are not equal. They are to be applied at different stages of sadhana. If in the beginning, we are feeling too restless, we are in the beginning now, we are feeling too restless, we are not able to start our concentration. For that, Patanjali has given a formula in 34, Prachardhana Vidaranabhyam va pranasya. Pran here represents breathing. And the simplest of pranayam is telling here, simplest. Pranayam has many forms. And this is not the place where pranayam is described as a part of sadhana. But just to check the mind's restlessness, this is called external kumbha. That means prachardhana means living out. So deeply breathe out as much as you can. And vidaranabhyam, hold the breathing outside. Don't breathe in immediately. Breathe out for a longer time and hold the breathing outside. Vidaranabhyam, that means the dual sense is used. So two things, leave the shasa and hold it outside. Then what happens? The mind becomes calm, mind becomes free of restlessness, then start meditating. So at different points of time, how to control the mind, how to bring it back to its original state, this Patanjali is now, as a great psychologist, is describing at different stages of sadhana. Then 35. Vishayavati va pravrittirutpanna manasa sthiti nibandini. This comes after a long practice. What is this? Pravritti. Pravrittirutpanna. Here, pravritti means a feeling. A feeling grows in you. What? Vishayavati. And that is, in Vibhuti-pad, Patanjali will describe this. Suppose we have sufficient concentration and we concentrate on the tip of the nose, we can smell any beautiful smell without any external object. This is Vishayavati Pravritti. Vishayavati Pravritti is transcendental experiences about all the objects. If you concentrate on a particular place, we can hear wonderful sounds as we like. If we concentrate on a particular place, we will get all the tastes in the world. We can get all the smells in the world. We can see all the beautiful forms in the world without indriyas coming in contact with those objects. This is called Vishayavati Pravritti. Now this requires a long practice. So though Patanjali has used the word va, at different stages, how to control the mind is the subject. By reference to the context, we understand that these are not equal to each other, but to be applied at different stages of our progress. So sufficiently we have progressed, and then we have this Sthana and all these things start troubling us. All of the Bhumikatva is coming to us. Now what happens if some such experience comes? This is a reply to the obstruction called samshaya. We are doubting whether the path is right. We are doubting whether this will lead us to the desired goal. And then we start getting these wonderful experiences. It convinces us we are on the right path. We are getting something, some experience which is not ordinary experience. So it is the result of our concentration. Let us proceed. So at this stage, when we have already proceeded long, and yet we are not getting samadhi, we are not getting the desired goal, the samshaya comes, whether we are on the right path. And if we get these wonderful experiences there, Vishayavati va pravrutti utpanna manasa sthiti nibandini. Sthiti here is not standing. Sthiti means steadiness in the path. Steadiness in the path is called sthiti. Nibandini means it binds the mind not to one place. It binds the mind to proceed. That is the meaning. Sthiti nibandini means if these experiences come, our mind sticks for further progress. So, manasa of the mind, sthiti nibandini. It gives the mind a steadiness in the path of progress. So, this is at a much higher stage. But Patanjali, as a psychologist, is going on. I told you the first chapter is only theory. Practical, only that Ishvara Pranidhan came as a practical alternative. In the second chapter, he will take up the real sadhana. But here he is describing what obstacles come, how to take care of them. This is what he is describing. So this is the context. After a lot of sadhana, we feel doubt that we have not yet reached the goal. Then if at that time we get these wonderful experiences, then we become sure of our path and we proceed. Then 36. Vishoka va jyotishmati. Now, if we concentrate on a jyoti, flame, what is that flame? Flame is not physical flame. This is the flame of consciousness. And what is the nature of consciousness? Again, Patanjali's limitations of basing on Sankhya does not allow him to tell that happy, we will feel blissful. But he says Vishoka. That means no pain. This is how he describes happiness. Vishoka means actually happy. But he describes as absence of pain. Such consciousness, if we can concentrate upon, consciousness of Brahman, will say. Patanjali does not say Brahman, but if consciousness is compared to a flame and it has no misery, our flame may give us burning. This is not a flame of that type. So Patanjali has said Vishoka. Vishoka va jyotishmati. At a particular stage, we can imagine, visualize, concentrate on the flame of consciousness which has no pain. And this will make the mind very steady. This will make the mind vigorous and we shall go forward. So at different stages of our life, different stages of our personality, how to remove the further obstacles, that is being stated by Patanjali here. Then 37. Vita raga vishayam va chittam. We take a perfected man, our guru or some sage. And what is his nature? His mind. No, this is actually the description of heart. But Patanjali has not used the word hridayam. Let me tell you a little about this chittam. Chittam is mind stuff. The seat of the mind stuff, the center of the mind stuff is always in our heart. It becomes a wave. The one point of the wave is always in our heart. The other end of the wave may be in our mind, may be going out through our any organ, may be going throughout the world. But one point is always in the heart. For a man of meditation, Godbar tells us. Now he describes like this. In waking state, where is our mind? Throughout the world. But center is always in the heart. Now, in dream or when we close our eyes, do not see outside world. Where is our mind? Mind is throughout our body. Mind remains throughout the nerves within our body, but the center is again in the heart. Now in deep sleep or in high states of meditation, the mind collects itself fully into the heart. So mind collects fully itself into the heart, deep sleep and real samadhi. Now there what he perceives? In deep sleep we do not perceive anything. But when it is concentrated in the heart, we perceive Jyoti, we perceive consciousness, and we perceive blissful consciousness. Patanjali calls it a flame without any pain. Because the appearance is like a flame, but it is not a physical light. It is the flame, if you want to say it, flame of consciousness. And if we are able to get at this consciousness, it has never pain. Rather, it is the most blissful thing. So at a particular stage of samadhi, we can apply this. Vishokava Jyotishmati, it will remove all the other obstacles, like Alabdha Bhumikatva and all that. It will remove these and we shall be able to proceed. This is 37. 38. Swapna Nidra Jnana Lambanam Va. Sometimes in dream, we get some blissful experience. Sometimes we see God, sometimes we see Devatas in our dream. And then at that time we are very blissful. Can we bring it to mind in waking state? Can we bring the memory back to the waking state? And then this will remove other obstacles. So somehow we must feel peaceful and blissful. Here I will tell you some mistake people make. In dream, they get some God's command. God comes to them and tells, do like this. They feel proud about it. Oh, I saw God in my dream. You are gone. But if you follow the advice given there, you would have succeeded. So the blissful point is taken up. What you got the bliss? In dream, you got some good experience. In dream, you see many of our sadhakas have got their mantra diksha in the dream. The famous example is Ashokananda Swamiji. He, in a dream, saw Swami Vivekananda is giving him mantra. People told him, no, you must take diksha from outside. He asked Shivanand Swami, Mahapurush Maharaj. He said, absolutely not necessary. Swamiji has given you diksha, you stick to that, you will succeed and be happy in life. So such experiences come in dream. Sometimes in dream we see ourselves sitting near a river, sitting in forest, meditating on God. So now another question will come. Why this experience come in the dream? Why not in the waking state? Waking state we are involved with the world with our outside senses. Our personality has not yet become 100% pure. Now compare. Freud thought we are suppressing some sexual or bad thoughts and so they are appearing in the dream. Here we are not allowing the spiritual thoughts in waking state, so they appear in the dream. In dream, our control over our mind is less. The police people are not there. Usual police. We do not allow this, do not allow that. Sometimes for the sake of society, sometimes for the sake of family, we are not able to feel the spiritual experiences in our waking state. So they come to the dream. And so, if you have got any happy experience in the dream, you can bring that to memory, and then your obstacles will vanish. You will be able to proceed in the path. Now, Nidra Jnana Lambanam also he says. Nidra, we saw his explanation was not perfect, but in Nidra we do get bliss. We get bliss reflected of our own Swarupa. Can you bring it back? Can you remember that in sleep you are very happy? And what was that happiness? Peaceful, absolutely peaceful and very happy. If you can remember that, your troubles will vanish. Your distractions will vanish. Your obstacles will vanish. If you can bring to the mind that in deep sleep you are very peaceful and very blissful, very happy. So, Swapna, Patanjali is a great psychologist and, as I told, textbook writer. So whatever he has seen people doing, he is telling us. He says if you can bring the experience of dream or sleep, which has been without pain, no, next is that. You have got some good experience, dream or deep sleep, alambanam, make that as your support and start meditating. Make that as your support and concentrate the mind more and more. This is not concentration on a particular object, but you are remembering what happened in dream, what happened in deep sleep, provided it was holy and joyful. Not that, let me not describe that. If in dream you are indulging in some so-called joy, that will not help you. But holy and blissful. If you bring to your mind the experience which you got in dream or sleep, which was holy and blissful, you can proceed in your meditation by concentrating on that. Or 39. Yatha bhimata dhyanadva. This is Patanjali's sweeping generalization. Something has happened in your life which you like, which is holy, mind you. Which you like and which is holy, which is spiritual, which you can take up that. So Patanjali has spread his net, you may say, widely. Any obstructions can be removed. Something, your life is not all miserable, your life is not all dirty. You have holy experiences in life, you have blissful experiences in life. So that you bring to your memory and meditate. You meditate on whatever is easiest for you to meditate. It should be holy, but it should be spiritual. Don't meditate on the rubbish things. But if something holy, blissful is available to you, you can meditate as you like, till you remove the obstacles. Then you can join your path. So these are the different instructions given by him about how to remove obstacles. All are not equal, let me repeat, and they can be applied at different stages of sadhana. And sometimes he has told very general things, sometimes particular things which can come to somebody. So these are the sutras dealing with that, from where Ekatattva Abhyasa, in between that fourfold formula, then external kumbhat, then some wonderful supersensuous experiences, then consciousness in the heart which is free from pain, then somebody's heart which has no vitaraga, I did not explain. Vitara, raga vishayam va chittam. Now this vitaraga vishayam, this vishaya has two meanings. That means his chitta is free from attachment to objects. Vita means vigata. He had attachment, but now he is a yogi. So attachments have gone away from him. A Brahmajna or a high soul is being described. Now he may be your guru or some sage, somebody whom you know. So Vishayam, again you make that as the object of your meditation. His chitta is Vita Raga Vishayam. You make it Vishayam for your meditation. So the Vishaya gets a double meaning here. You make an object of your meditation, a chitta. Here I was explaining, that is actually heart. And this heart had attachment, it has gone away. This is the meaning of Vita. Such a mind. Okay, Patanjali always likes mind, so let us think of mind, though it is a heart here. So, on such a mind, if you concentrate, your attachment also will go away. The reason of obstructions is attachment sometimes, and those attachments will vanish if you concentrate. Directly you are not able to remove them, but you concentrate on the mind, which is free from them, and then you will see your attachments will vanish. So very practical instructions he is giving. And then we saw Swapna Nidra Jnana Lambanam and Yatha Bhimata Dhyanat. Why he has used everywhere, but they are possible in different states of the mind and we should apply them. Now, in Sutra 40, now the link of 17 Sutra is coming, remember. All the sutras came in between. Started with Ishvara Pranidhan, alternative method. Then obstructions, removal of obstructions, several instructions for removal of obstructions to keep the mind blissful and pain. Now he goes back, connects us with the Sutra 17 again. What was the Sutra 17? You remember? Sutra 17? Vitarka, Vichara, Ananda, Asmita, Anugamat, Sampradnyata. Sampradnyata Samadhi. You remember now? He is taking us back to the main track. And main track was sweeping general, that will proceed. If we concentrate on some gross object, we will get the penetrative vision. And we will get what is behind that gross object, the subtle things going behind the gross object. Then we concentrate on the subtle things. Then we will be able to meditate upon the mind which is conceiving all this. The mind can go, turn itself on the mind, and that is the happy state. First time, as I told you, and last time perhaps, Patanjali has used your Ananda. He has not taken it further. But when you concentrate on your own calm mind, you will feel happy. That is a samadhi. And then you can concentrate on your I, consciousness. That is called asmita. So 4 types of samadhis leading to the sampradnyata samadhi he had described in 17. That he reverts back in 40. And the 40 sutra is Paramanu Parama Mahatvanto Asya Vashikara. Paramanu, atom, Parama Mahatvanto, or pervading Prakriti, or the physically or mentally great things. If we remove your obstacle and go back according to your original path of sadhana, you are able to control your meditation on very small objects as well as the biggest objects. So this is connecting with 17 and the range is being told. Again I tell you, these are theoretical descriptions. How and why we shall get in the next chapter. But here it says, if you remove your obstacles and go back to the original path, you can proceed up to this. Paramanu Paramamatvanto. Asya means this process of meditation will give you a power, Vashikara, on the smallest item or on the very big, the entire Prakriti or whatever it may be. This is the Sutra 40. Then 41. 41 is important. 41 is a little big sutra. Kshina vrutter abhijatasya iva maner grahitru grahana grayeshu tatstha tadanjanata samapatti. Samapatti means you will achieve this. What you will achieve? In the respect of three things. Grahitru means yourself. Grahana, the act of perception. Grayeshu, the object of perception. Now this grahana is your mind, object and yourself. On these three separately, that is the Parmanu Parama Mahatu is going on. Huh? You get two things. Tatstha tadanjanata. Tatstha means you reach there, you can identify yourself, with your mind, with the objects, and then you can get colored by them. For this coloring is giving an example. Money is a sphatika, crystal. You know there is a crystal, you know what is the property of the crystal. If you hold a red flower in the vicinity of the crystal, it will appear as if the red flower is inside the crystal. If you are fortunate enough to see, in Rameshwaram, in the early morning, the Abhisheka is done to a Sphatikalinga. And then funny things happen. They are pouring milk over it, Abhishekam. And you will see as if the milk has entered the Sphatika. They will wave a light. You will feel the light is inside Sphatika. So Sphatika has the capacity to become like something of which it is kept near. Now, you can become colored by your own self, your mind, or any object. When, at what time? I am reading this sutra in a reverse way. Kshina vrutte. So all this sadhana up till now, what it has done? Vrittis have not vanished. Samprajnata samadhi we are dealing. So vrittis have not vanished, but they have become powerless. Kshina vritti. So this is the theory Patanjali is telling. Suppose we proceed in this way, remove all the obstacles, stick to your path, we will come to a point where all the vrittis will become powerless, will become very weak. And then you get this state. When the vrittis become powerless, then you get this state where you can identify, because he has already described in that Ananda and Asmita, that you can concentrate on your mind, you can concentrate on your I. So this self means I here. Now, you can get concentrated on I, you will get the color of that I. You can get concentrated on your mind, you can get color of the mind. You can concentrate on any object you like and you will get color of that object. When the vrittis have become very keen. So this is how he has connected us back to the Sutra 17, where he has said that, he has not yet explained that, that he will take up in the 42 Sutra. This Vitarka, Vichara, Ananda and Asmita Samadhis, he will take up now from Sutra 42 onwards, but he has brought us to that stage, theoretically, where the vrittis have become very powerless and we are able to meditate as we like. We are able to meditate on our I consciousness, we are able to meditate on the mind itself or on any object outside. Now here, let me tell something. We, sadhaks in general, are sadhaks following the path of bhakti or sadhaks following the path of Vedanta. What we mean by meditation, let me tell you in a nutshell today. Up till now we have seen Patanjali's meditation is concentration. Our meditation is Concentration is a function of the will, mind you. Our meditation has three parts. Our meditation starts with knowledge. Knowledge in the form of dharana. Dharana is again not Patanjali dharana. Dharana is the concept of God, what we have, of our own self, what we have. And our concept of ourselves or God is that it is Satchit Ananda. First point. Second point, there is a rupa of that. Even the Nirakar sadhaks have a rupa. What is that rupa? Unspecified form is Nirakar. Unspecified form is Nirakar, and or any other form which you like. Durga, Kali, there are 2-3 types of forms of God. One is Devi, Shiva, Parvati, Durga, Kali. There is human form like Rama or Krishna or Ram Krishna or Jesus or Buddha. Some form, God's nature, God's form, and main important is our relation with Him. We must form a relation. Even the Vedantis have a relation. God is myself. Or God is my mother, father or something. Now this is the knowledge portion which is essential for our meditation in general, not Patanjali's. Now, this causes an attraction, a pull. If God is my mother, if I am God's child, He is pulling me. So bhakti becomes automatic result of my feeling the nature of God, the rupa of God, and my connection with God. So the mind is being pulled inside. So meditation as knowledge, meditation as bhakti. In spite of this, due to my old sanskaras, the mind runs here and there. And then I apply the will to bring it back. So ordinary meditation consists of knowledge, devotion, and will. And then karma. Gita 6th chapter tells us our proper karma is the outside form of meditation. Meditation is the inside form. So all these factors are taken into consideration while we describe meditation. Patanjali's meditation is concentration, and in that concentration he proceeds and he hopes to reach consciousness through concentration. Concentrate, the gross becomes subtle, or gross vanishes and subtle comes. Concentrate, you are able to catch your own mind and concentrate. Concentrate, you are able to catch your eye consciousness and concentrate. In this way, Patanjali hopes us to reach the consciousness. That is his method. And this he has described up till now by removing obstacles, and next he will take up the process how continues, vitarka, vichara and all that he will explain. Any questions, please? Yes, please. Any questions from anyone? Or we can conclude the class today here, because we are entering a new field from Sutra 42. And if you want, I can start Sutra 42. Okay, let me proceed. Oh, yes. Some very fundamental thing is there. Huh? Tatra. Tatra means when obstacles have been removed, we are able to concentrate on anything which we like, then what happens? Tatra, in that condition, Shabda Artha Jnana Vikalpaihi Sankirna Savitarka Samapatti. I will tell you only the first part. Shabda, Artha and Jnana. How Patanjali defines Shabda, Artha and Jnana. Now, external objects are there.
Maharaj, in the chat box.
Yes, please.
In the chat box, there are some comments. We are reading it out.
Yes, please. Open. I wanted to say that, but I stopped myself. Okay.
Maharaj, last class, so Santosh Sali, Maharaj, last class spoke about fundamental nature of jealousy. What is the way to...
Maharaj already answered that. Maharaj already answered that.
Okay, so next question. Next question is from William Davis. It's not a good question. In the first part of the book, Raja Yoga, in the chapter on the control of psychic prana, Swamiji recommends an alternate nostril breathing technique. Should we start to practice that?
Yes, please.
So I'm repeating the question. In the question from William Davis.
What is the question?
In the first part of the book, Raja Yoga, in the chapter on the control of psychic prana, Swamiji recommends an alternate nostril breathing technique. Should we start to practice that?
Swamiji means myself or Swami Vivekananda?
Vivekananda, Swami Vivekananda.
Because you told Rajoga, so Swami Vivekananda you are meaning.
Yes, Maharaj.
I told you, Swami Vivekananda's
Yes.
Rajoga is much wider than Patanjali, and so you can take up that very easily. There is no doubt about it. Okay.
So, Maharaj, another comment from
Yes.
Narayan Rajesh Kumar. So, according to Vedanta philosophy, we see the same consciousness throughout the universe, and hence we always see one person projected in various qualities.
Yes.
So, upon whom you can have jealousy or love or hatred when there is no two.
Now, that is the Vedantic approach. And that knowledge, that approach, very good. That approach is not through the mind, that approach is through knowledge. Approach through knowledge is different than approach through mind. Patanjali has described approach through mind. Now, approach through knowledge is that when jealousy comes, when there is something separate from Brahman, when there is something, I am Brahman, so when there is something separate from me and I do not like it and I hate it, it seems to be greater than me or something, I hate it. So, this is wrong knowledge. Nothing is separate from Brahman, nothing is separate from me. So, where is anything to be jealous about? That is the Vedantic approach. And if we can proceed by the Vedantic approach, nothing like that. I told repeatedly that Patanjali Yoga can be taken as a supplement to our Vedantic sadhana. So, Vedantic sadhana proceeds from knowledge always, while Patanjali proceeds through the mind. Somebody, one of the listeners, he described on the first day on the WhatsApp, I did not share that. He says Patanjali is trying to control waves of the mind, while Vedanta tries to control the mind itself. Vedanta controls the mind itself. Patanjali is trying to control the waves of the mind. So, Vedantic approach is through knowledge, and there, this jealousy has no place. Yatra tu sarva atmaiva bhut. There, Vijugupsa is not there. Grina is not there. Any grina, anything comes only when we feel something is separate from us. The Mahapurushas do not feel anything in the world is separate from them, and thus no hatred or jealousy comes. There are innumerable examples on this. The brightest example is Bhagavan Buddha. He was entering a forest, and people told him, don't go there, there Angulimal lives. He says, what is Angulimal? He is a man, I am also a man. He said, no, he kills people, and their fingers he uses as mala. Buddha said, I do not possess anything. He said, he does not see that. First he kills a man, then loots him. Buddha said, let it be, let me see. And he entered the forest. Angulimal was shocked when somebody is entering his forest fearlessly. He says, who are you? I am a man. Don't you know I am Angulimal? Yes, it is another name for a man. I don't see any difference between you and me. Result, Angulimal fell at his feet and became his disciple. So, this is Vedantic approach. Vedantic approach is through the knowledge that nothing is different from me, and this controls all our defects and drawbacks, but we are not able to retain this knowledge always. Our mind is impure, and so we take resort to Patanjali's methods. Patanjali's methods are supplements to our knowledge, and so if we can get at that knowledge, no obstacles at all. But till we have reached the place, our mind is dirty, we have to acknowledge, and in the dirty mind, all these obstructions come, and we have to use mental processes to overcome them. And so, Patanjali, as the great psychologist, is suggesting mental processes to get over them. I think I explained this difference. Vedantic sadhana, those who can follow, you see, in Vedanta there is talk of Uttam Madhyam Adhikari. It brings to me another topic, Maharaj. I want to tell it on a different day. Let me tell. Shankaracharya has a book, Aparokshanubhuti. Anyway, shall I tell? There, not only Ashtangas, I wanted to tell when Patanjali's Ashtangas come. He has described 15 Angas of yoga. And all he has defined according to Advaita Vedanta. All the 15 Angas of yoga he has described according to Advaita Vedanta. And then he calls this knowledge yoga as the Raj Yoga. And Patanjali yoga he calls as Hatha Yoga, because will is used there. And there he clearly states, those whose minds are pure can follow the Vedantic Raj Yoga. Those whose minds are not fully pure, that is what he uses the word, not fully pure, let them take help of Patanjali's Hatha Yoga also. That is in the Aparokshanubhuti. So, Raj Yoga is always taken, Patanjali's yoga is always, Patanjali has not given the name Raj Yoga. Patanjali has always said, Patanjali's yoga we can always take as supplement to Vedanta, or those who are only mind, they can follow this path. In that case, it will not lead us to mukti, that I also told first day. So, this is the path. Okay? I think I have cleared everything. Om Yogena Chittasya Padena Vacha Malam Sharirasya Vaidakena Yopasaram Pravaram Munimam Patanjalim Pranjaliram Natosmi. So from Wednesday we take up Sutra 42.